Hello, this is Raimundo Burgueño, and here's a more advanced tips on filleting. When you come across more complex fillets like this one, it's important to still remember the basic principles of filleting. Always get the biggest fillet first, and then slowly work your way down. So for these corner fillets, I'm just going to use a 25mm cordal length fillet with edge line attached. And whenever I come across these sorts of fillets, I try to remember to slowly take my time and actually simplify my trimmed surfaces to make it easier for Alias to figure out and also for myself. So what I'm doing now is I'm untrimming it and I'm projecting this new fillet into it. And this gives me a nice little sort of working space. So now I start to develop the second biggest fillet, which would be this inside fillet. So I just select these edges and then I make sure that my flow control is on default. And then I select the inside surface and now I have this fillet in the middle, but my edges aren't closed up. To solve this problem, I isolate my surface and then I use my extend tool to push these curve-on surfaces to the edge. This destroys my history, but it's sort of necessary for the next step. Now once I trim this away, now I have a nice little square that I could use to surface it. But as you can see, I'm missing one side, so what I do is I untrim it and make sure to include that side with my retrim. And now I have this nice little four-sided square I could use to sort of fill in that gap. And even though the curvature failed, it's not really necessary for such a small part, and it's within a certain tolerance that I'm okay with at this point in the process. There is another quick tip video on CV control to fix this that you could go through and see how you could find curvature in these sorts of situations. So after this, I'm just left with the smallest fillet in this little project. And I'm going to use the same technique that I've been using before where I untrim and trim it to make it easier for Alias and for myself to keep going and accomplish this next step. And it's just a matter of getting a smaller fillet and then selecting the surfaces that are curvature and pressing go. Now, remember to save before doing things like this because it freezes a lot. In fact, this one froze just because of my flow control. It was on default, but now once I changed the edge align, it actually worked. So here you can see my all my fillets are done, and it was a relatively easy project. And you know, you might be able to fix a couple things, but this is basically how you can sort of start approaching these sorts of surfacing problems. And just remember, take your time with every step and save often while you're doing this. I got lucky here that it didn't freeze too many times, but just remember to save often.